So, hi, happy Friday. Okay. What I want to do is I want to go through these items and I want to explain what they are. In this blank section down here, I'm going to draw a diagram and label each vocab word. So this is brand new marker. We'll see how amazing it is. I just need it to be super, yeah. Woohoo! That's the best. Because now you all can see it, hopefully super, super clear. Okay. When you're given a protractor, on the inner, what can I do to make this easier? Put it against a black surface or a white surface. On the inner numbering, I go from 0, 90 is here, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, all the way to 180. This inside is going to be how I'm going to do angle measurements for this whole many weeks. So we're never going to start over from the left. This side on the right, up 10, 20, 30. So like a 45-degree angle would look like this. I'd have it right here. And I'd go up to 45. It'd be like that, which is a super awful angle. But that right there would be 45 degrees. This is on a protractor. In my notes today, I'm going to also start on this x-axis. This is going to be called my initial side. So I do want you to label it. This is my starting point. My initial side is where I'm going to begin, my angle movements. And then, obviously, this is my x-axis, this is my y-axis. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my initial side and I'm going to go, a positive angle is counterclockwise. A positive angle is counterclockwise. Counterclockwise goes this way. Counterclockwise goes this way. Clockwise goes right. Counterclockwise goes to the left. Clockwise goes to the right. Here is a positive angle. Here's a positive angle. And let's say the angle ends like right here. So I have created this positive angle, right? So I've created this positive angle. Where it ends, this is called the terminal side. You know, terminate, end. Terminate, end. So I start on my x-axis in quadrant 1. I go up. It ends. That's called my terminal side. This portion that's left over right here, this is called my coterminal angle. So maybe this is 90 plus 45 more, 135 degrees. So my positive angle is 135 degrees. My coterminal angle, guys, how much is left for me to get to the 180 line? How much? From 135 to 180, how much?
45.
Which what?
45 degrees.
45 degrees. Okay, so then If I go the opposite way, clockwise, this is my negative angle. Negative angles go clockwise to the right. So this diagram is really good for you to see. And I want to move on after this. I'm going to scroll to the next page. We're going to put this into practice, guys. Practice. So I start on the initial side. I end on the terminal side. Positive angles go counterclockwise. Negative angles go clockwise. Now I get to draw. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So, some info that you need for this. In this circle that I'm giving you, there are 24 sections. Which means if there's 360 degrees in a circle, notice how I went this way. Notice how I'm going counterclockwise, because that's the way we're going to measure our angles. 360 divided by 24 means, let's get a really dark angle. Each section is 15 degrees each. Each section is 15 degrees each. So I'm going to start at my initial side. Here, here, here. And I'm going to go counterclockwise. Ready? 30 degrees. Each section is 15 degrees. So these darker lines mean 15, 30. Here's the, oh, hold on. 15, yeah. There's 30 degrees. $135. Okay, be smart. Be smarter than the paper. I know that 90 is here. So don't be that kid that's like 15, 30, 45. No, no, no. Let's use what we know. We know that this is 90. Go from there. 90 plus 15, 105. Plus 15, 120. Plus 15, 135. And I purposefully did 135 in our example previously. $240. Woo! Use your brain. 90, 180. Can you count by nines? Sure hope so. If I want to get to 240, let's for sure go to 90, 180. And then I'm going to go, okay. 195. 210, 225, 240. $240 degrees. 270. Ready? So a 270 is the one of actual my like axes, right? 90, 180, 270, boom, straight down. 270 degrees. Okay. -45. Oh, easy. Oh, -45. My goodness. Ready? Negative goes counterclockwise. Yeah? So always start on your initial side, but I'm going to go low, going to the right, clockwise. Oh my, what am I saying? Ha ha ha. Negative is clockwise, clockwise. Negative is clockwise. Okay, 15, 30, 45. Woo, that was a pretty bad line. -45 degrees. -120, downward, clockwise. Start on your initial side. Ready? 90. Okay. 105, 120. Okay. Woo, -340. You guys, okay. Nobody better be doing 15, 30, 45. No, 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 no. If I know that 360 is all the way around, 360 minus 20, that gets me 340, right? So 340 is going to be 20 above my initial side. I'm going to go clockwise. And it's not even on a perfect line, is it? Because my lines go by 15s, and all of a sudden I'm trying to do a 340. -210. 180. Hold on. 180. Okay. 195. 210. Correct? So, I practice going positive angles, I practice going negative angles. Do you have any questions on this?
So for each increment, it's by 15, right?
I'm sorry, can you talk louder?
For each increment, it's by 15, right?
Yes, 15, 15, 15. Yep, yep. Okay. Now I'm going to the next. Okay, I wrote down some info about coterminal angles. I just had to erase it. But hold on. So everything I write on the board, I hope that you're putting on the exact place on the page that I put mine. Because it's, I'm modeling it for you, like perfect. Okay, a coterminal angle. Find two or more coterminal angles for the given angle. Okay, so coterminal angle means A coterminal angle ends at the same terminal side from my initial side, from my standard, I'll say from, I could say my initial side, you know, where I start, or my standard position, where I start, standard position. Okay, so let's look at this little box right here. If my coterminal angle is 90 degrees, if my angle is 90 degrees, my coterminal can be negative 270. So it's like I do, well, let's leave it at that for now, because in the next part, let me show you. It says, find two more coterminal angles. So I need a positive and a negative, which means I'm gonna have to do, let me draw my little, so I'm gonna do 60-degree angle. So draw a little 60-degree angle, what you think is 60. Start at your initial side. So you're like here. So I'm gonna do coterminal angle is gonna be this way. Negative 360. Oh, 360. Negative 300, sorry. Negative 300. Right? So I'm going to do basically like the whole rotation would be 360. And then I'm going to do 360 plus 60. Because if I went, let me tell you where this 420 comes from. Obviously, you know where the negative 300 comes from, because I'm going to the negative. But if I were to go positive, I would go 360 degrees and I'd be back to the beginning and I'd go 60 more. 360 degrees and then 60 more. That's where the 420 came from. If I have negative 100, that'd be like here, right? I actually only have one because it's positive 260. I'll just write one. $180 is just a straight angle. And I'm going to do positive 180. My negative angle is negative 180. So it's like 360 minus 180. That's where I get my negative 180. And 360 plus 180, 540. I know I'm blocking, sorry. So you're subtracting from 360 and adding to 360.
Miss Grant, if you do 360 minus 180, how is it negative 180?
Because I know it's not, but when I go, my negative invert, where I drew it, that's where the negative comes from. But you're basically taking the whole thing away. I'm going negative, so I have to say it's a negative. I'm going clockwise. I know that this math problem is not like good for our brains because it doesn't make sense. But when I'm starting at my initial side and I go in a negative angle direction, right? Don't I get negative 180? So I can't put that they're both negative because that's not going to work. And I can't start with negative 360 and do positive. It's negative 180.
So then for the coterminal side, you have to start at the initial side as well, and then
You have to start at the initial side. Yeah.
So like when your like initial angle is negative, you only have like one coterminal, but when it's positive, you have two.
So if I were to go negative plus 100 more, it would also be positive 460. I can include that. That's fine. This one just doesn't have a negative and a positive. It has two positives. A lot of times there's a negative and a positive, but now, moving on. That's the word coterminal. How much for you to get around to where the angle ends? I'm scrolling down. A reference angle. So these are two different definitions that we need to keep straight. The reference angle is how many degrees, has to be an acute angle. So when an angle is in center position, the reference angle is the acute angle. So has to be an acute angle to get to the x-axis. How many degrees do I need to go? So I'm going to draw an angle. And it's like, well, how many more to get to the x-axis? That's called a reference angle. So if I have this reference angle of 70, I'm going to draw it right here. I need to draw it in blue. Sorry, I need to use the lighter color for the background of the x and y axis. So here's 70. It has to be an acute angle. Like it has to be an acute angle. The reference angle is always positive. So 70 degrees is kind of an anomaly because look, 70 degrees goes to like there. So I'm going to ask you, how many degrees, and it's acute angle, what acute angle is going to get me back to the x-axis? I can't go this way because that would be obtuse. This one is itself. The reference angle is 70. Because 70 already is an acute angle. Don't worry, it'll get better. 150 degrees is like so here's my 150 degrees. Right here, guys, this is it. How much is that little acute angle to get me to the x-axis? How much more degrees to get to the x-axis? It has to be less than 90. 150 to 180, right? 30 degrees. So I could say that the reference angle is 30 degrees, and I could also say it's 30 degrees to get to the x-axis. It's 30 degrees to get to the x-axis. 225. So draw 225. We always start, remember my initial side? 90, 180, plus 45 more. This is 225. Its reference angle is right here. You need to have the word coterminal and reference like in your brain, like the differences in the definition. How much? From 225, oh, whoa. You guys. So sorry. That's the coterminal. No, that's not. Hold on. It's here. Wow. Bad move, Mrs. Graham. Here's the reference angle. Remember to get back to the x-axis. I apologize. 225 minus 180. 225 minus 180. The reference angle is 45 degrees. Negative 120 goes downward. I don't know, like there. 90 plus 30. There's negative 120 degrees. Here's my reference angle, acute angle. How much? So it's basically, I'm at 120, I need to get to 180. What's my reference angle?
30.
I'm at negative 120, but I need to go up here. What is it?
60.
60 degrees. How many degrees do you need to get back to the x-axis? Here, a little bit. Here, a little bit. Here, it was itself because it was already positive. And it was like under 90, so it was acute already. Okay. The next thing I want to show you is if I know a certain quadrant, how can I find the reference angle? So if I tell you that there's an angle in a certain quadrant, quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4, do you remember the difference? Please. Quadrant 1, Roman numeral. Quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. You need to know these. This is like algebra 1. So I'm gonna really pay specific close attention to what it tells me. This one tells me that I'm going to be in quadrant 2, okay? And I'm gonna make a 40-degree angle. And you're like, well, let me do it in blue. Like, well, where's the 40 degrees come from? The 40 degrees comes from the x-axis. So I go off of the x-axis, never the y-axis. In quadrant 2, that's right here, right? I'm gonna make a 40-degree angle, and it's gonna be like this. So here's what I wanna know. I wanna know if I go from my initial position, it's 140, yes? If I go negative, it's negative 220. Do you see what I did? I had to be in quadrant 2. I was told to make a 40-degree angle. I did. Then I went to my initial side and I said, how many degrees to get there? Well, positive is 140, negative is 220. These two numbers are my answer. Okay. In quadrant 2, blue, quadrant 3, 25. Off of my x-axis, go down a little, just tiny, 25 degrees. Okay. I want to know what's the positive to get there and what's the negative to get there. Starting from my initial side. There is positive what? 180 plus 25 more. 205 degrees. Then what's that? $90 plus 65, right? 90, and then 65 more right here. Negative 155 degrees, yeah? You see I'm getting these? If you have questions, you need to speak up.
Ms. Grant, so why is it, so when you add 25, so it's not 180, it's 150, or not, wait, no, hold on.
Because when I did the negative, I came down here, negative 90 and negative 65, right? Negative 90, and I just said, well, this whole thing is 90, 25 of it's already used up, what's left? This whole section is 90, 25 of it is used up. I'm only going to this line. So that's where I got the 65 from. Basically like 90 minus 25.
Oh, okay, thank you.
In my, I'm only doing C. I'm ending at C, I'm not gonna do D. 80 in quadrant 4. Start at my initial side. 80 is gonna be like right there. There's 80. Right? Now, two ways. What's the positive? Boop, 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 boop. How much? What's that?
110.
No, more than 110. 90, 180, 270. 270 plus 10 more. Because this is like 10, right? This is 80. wait, what did we say? 280 degrees. Going this way, well, it's already there. Negative 80 degrees. This is my acute angle. Well, that's not, right, that's not necessary. Okay. Every question that I gave you for homework is modeled right after this. So you definitely need to have your notes handy when you're starting your homework. I'm going to stop the recording because, good.